Και εμείς μπορούμε να προχωρήσουμε στον επόμενο προσκεκλημένο μας για σήμερα. Είναι ο δεύτερος άνθρωπος που θα συναντήσουμε από την knauf, ο Μάρκος Muck, που θα μιλήσει για την knauf Sealing Solutions. Marcus, it's great to have you here today, and we're looking forward to hear more about knauf Sealing Solutions.
Hello together. First of all, thanks for the invitation to this event. It's a pleasure for me to tell you a few things and to have the possibility to show you a few things about knauf Sealing Solutions and also a few things about acoustic in general. First of all, just a few words to my person. I'm responsible for technical questions all around sealing solutions, and I'm in this position. I'm in daily contact with our customers, with the people who are installing the systems, but also those who are planning, who are doing acoustics, with acoustician engineers, and also with the architects to explain what is possible and in which way they will reach a good acoustic and a good visual solution. So the main two things I will focus on is to show you what is a knauf sealing solution, because I guess it's not really well known for everybody. So just a few words, and in the name is just a sealing solution, but for this presentation I looked for expression that combines the knauf sealing solution and also room acoustics, and I find the sentence more than only sealings, and this is relates to both, not only to the company but also for room acoustics. So let us talk first of all about the knauf sealing solution and then about the room acoustic. A few years ago, until 2019, AMF and Armstrong Sealing Solution belonged to different companies, for example, knauf and USG. These were two well-known distributors which were in a competition with each other in the past, but now they will come together and work together and also complement each other. We say always stronger together. For AMF, to remind, they had less material solution. They had only a few things with softboard and special solution in case of rafts like Axiom. So AMF were known as a mineral product competitor with mineral solution. With Armstrong, they had a lot of solutions for metal, but they had, for example, no wood products. So together, in combination with these two companies, it's I always say all-in-one solution regarding sealings, including special requirements, not only with different materials, but also in relationship to acoustic, to fire protection, hygiene, and so on. So a knauf sealing solution is the all-in-one solution for different materials and different requirements. Knauf sealing solution offers different materials like mineral wool, metal, wood wool, but not only for these materials, but also for diverse applications. And together with knauf, the range includes also gypsum solutions. Later on, we will see a few case studies and a few projects where these materials were mixed together to get a perfect acoustical solution. So, just a few things. If we talk about mineral, everyone has solutions in mind with visual grid system, for example, like a module system with visual profiles. But mineral can also be a jointless system. Here we will see, for example, a Tazet or Eleganza system, where also an acoustical plaster is used. So we will get a very, very high absorbing solution without any visible grid system, without any joints. So in this area, it's just an entrance hall where also people can sit for a while. And that's what we always have in mind, and what architects should also have in mind. When people are sitting there for a while, it's always also a thing, not only visual, but it's also acoustical solution required. Mineral could also be rafts, like here in the United Kingdom, in a football club. So you can imagine what the architect or interior designer has in mind if he was thinking about acoustic and also acoustic solution for the ceiling. It was a football, and the design is pretty good arranged with the rafts to the ceiling. But mineral could also mean printed solutions. It's not necessary to print all the whole ceiling. If you only put a few colors, a picture in a few areas, then it's a completely different behavior and environmental. People feeling the feeling becomes quite different if it's not only white. If you're just focusing on a few pictures, on a few colors. And the range goes over to a classic design to also baffles. If we go to another material, wood wool, for example, there are so many more possibilities. First of all, I would say don't have to focus only on the ceiling, because the same solution and the same material, the same system you could also apply to walls, for example. And later on we will see this is essential for good room acoustics. Don't have always in mind ceiling absorption. You have to think about an overall solution. But with Heather design, a completely different material, you have further possibilities because it's a very stiff material, and you can also use them for milling machines, for example. You can create text, for example. You can create any patterns, for example, lining patterns, waves, anything. Just feel free. And what we have is the only solution, the only material which can do such things. For the left picture, for example, where you can read welcome, for example, the surface, it's just closed, and only where the milling takes place, you will see the natural structure of the wood wool. So it's also a combination within a tile. So if you think also about the possibilities for color, yeah, you have infinity possibilities to create new things. And for hero design, this is plenty new. We also got cradle to cradle certification for gold for all the surfaces with white and natural color. So for hair design especially, there's no difference for the systems and also for where you want to fix them, where you want to install them. So you could do the same solution to the ceiling, but also to the wall. And with this object in Ukraine, it was plenty good arranged also in a case of acoustical, because later on we will see a case study. What happens if you only think about the ceiling, if you only think about acoustical solutions to the ceiling? Yeah, that's what I try to say, and that's what I see in the daily business. Everyone is thinking about the ceiling because you have a lot of place to install absorbing material, but this will cause other effects like flutter echo. And you don't have to discuss about absorption coefficient 0.9 or 0.95. If you only install material to the ceiling, the result will completely different. So with heather design, also in combination with a classic design, a classic mineral wool to the ceiling, you have a lot of solutions, you have a lot of possibilities. And further on, for example, in this restaurant, in this swimming hall, in the therm in Serbia, there are metal solutions also used. You have the full range for the material and also for the systems. Doesn't matter if it's rafts, it's wall absorbing elements, it's a closed ceiling, it's a concealed ceiling. Yeah, you have a lot of different possibilities. So part 2 would be just have in mind different materials on different locations, ceiling and wall. And for me, this is one of my favorite projects. This was a kindergarten in Denmark, because here different systems and also different materials are combined. On the ceiling, you will see here the design with white color, with the edge, beveled edge, for example. And to the wall, you have a gypsum solution, like linear, for example. And this is what I always say to the planner, also to the interior planner. Just at the beginning, don't forget to install absorbing material to the wall, especially where good speech intelligibility, where good understanding is required. For example, in schools, in kindergartens, also conference rooms, you will always get problem if you only think about the ceiling. Good room acoustic includes the distribution of the absorbing surface and the material to the ceiling and to the wall. In general, I always say, if you locate them, if you install absorbing material to the 3 room dimensions, it would be perfect. So a few weeks ago, I had the situation that the acoustician, the planner, did a very simple study, a very simple calculation based on Sabine, and he got a reverberation time, the calculation, for a small room, around about 100 cubic meter or a little bit more, with a reverberation time of around about 0.5 seconds. And they installed Hero design also with wool on top, only to the ceiling. So this is what they expected. And heather design with wool on top is a very high absorbing material. It depends on the board, it depends on the system, but we can say around about 0.9, 90% absorption. Yeah, that's quite good. It's an A absorbing, class A absorber. So the requirement is high, so that's why they choose the high absorbing material with heather design and wool on top. And they did a calculation, and everything was good. Okay. Then the installer finished, and then the same acoustician who was also involved in the calculation and the planning, he did a measurement in different rooms, and he got a result that looks completely different what he calculated. But we can explain, and there are a lot of studies which are explaining such situations. But first of all, this is shown here, he did a measurement without furnitures. But what happens if you bring in furnitures, just a few tables and just a few chairs? They don't have to absorb. You will get such a solution, measurement. So the reverberation time becomes much more shorter, and it looks like that additional absorbing material is brought into the room, but it wasn't. It's only diffusing. Yeah, just to bring in a few diffusing elements that gives you a good effect to the absorption, to the reverberation time, to the room acoustic. So there are other things that also have a big influence on room acoustic, not only absorbing at the ceiling, but what is the reason why now the measurement also with furnitures is different to the calculation? Yeah, we talk about not about 5% or 10%. It could be 50% or more, where the real measurement later on in the calculation is completely different. And that's based on if you only have absorption material to the ceiling, because only a sound which comes to the ceiling will be absorbed. But there are so many other parts of the sound which still is in the room. And in case of parallel hard areas like walls, for example, without absorption, without any diffusion, there will be flutter echo in between. And this is the main reason why the measurement after installing the ceiling and the calculation before is completely different. And this flutter echo appears only at the middle and the high frequencies. So at the deep frequencies, the measurement and the calculation is quite equal, quite the same. But starting with 200, especially 500 and 1000 hertz, yeah, this is caused normally on the flutter echo in between parallel hard surfaces, in between walls. And so that's one thing you should have in mind if you're doing creating, planning, or the interior design and thinking about how it should look like. You always have, please in mind, think about acoustic before installing, and not only to the ceiling but also to the walls. There are so many material, there are so many systems that could be also applied to the wall. Please have this in mind. And here, for example, another good looking and also good acoustician solution. This is a School of Arts, for example, in Dubai, I think so. They installed absorbing material to the ceiling, black color, so that's why we don't see. But also a heather design, for example, to the wall. This is also a visual effect. You don't have to install so many things, so many square meters, but just to have in mind, and just for a roundabout calculation, I always say 70% of absorbing material to the ceiling, 50% to two different walls to avoid parallel hard surfaces. This is just a very simple calculation for the beginning, for the start. If you want to have a very a good solution, just contact an acoustician, an acoustical engineer. He can calculate it much more better. But what I see at the daily business is they don't think about acoustic. They only have in mind, okay, absorbing material to the ceiling and everything is fine. This doesn't work. Please have in mind, absorbing material has to be installed to the ceiling and also to the walls. So at this point, I have to say thank you. And at the next time, if you think about room acoustic for classroom, for kindergartens, but it could also be bigger volumes like sports halls, not only ceiling, also part of the wall. So thanks for your attention. For your attention.
Marcus, thank you for the presentation. It's very comforting to see that we have colleagues with such a deep knowledge in acoustics. So although we don't have any questions from our audience, expect to have a lot of questions in the upcoming days about all these products, the amazing solutions that are offered by Knauf Sealing Solutions. Also very, very nice to see that you stress the importance of absorption on the walls, because as everywhere else in Europe, same in Greece and Cyprus, when we think about acoustics, we think only about ceilings. But walls as acousticians know better than us, are as important as the treatment of any ceiling. Very nice presentation. Thank you, Marcus. Danai?
No problem.
Thank you as well for sharing this useful technical information. I really like the example of the kindergarten, because I can really make some connotations with my house as well sometimes. See you soon, Marcus.